Well, I do want to announce that today I nominated an individual, an exceptional jurist, Judge Hector LaSalle, to be the chief judge of the New York State Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals is the highest court in the land. It is a position of great authority and prestige.
Okay, so this is really fascinating. So you have Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, who is going to be trying to appoint Hector LaSalle, who had been appointed to the appeals court by former Governor Cuomo before his massive scandals and all that, to elevate him. And here is the issue with that. She does not need to take a guy with the record of Hector LaSalle and give him this position. We don't have time to run through his entire record necessarily, but whether you're talking about labor rights, women's rights, regulations on the police, oversight, a lot of these different topics, he has a record that, particularly in New York, where they have so much Democratic representation in the state legislature, that they very much could have a far less right-wing candidate to be elevated in the way that Kathy Hochul is elevating him right now. A number of members of the Democratic Party in New York are speaking out against it. At least a dozen state Senate Democrats publicly oppose LaSalle, including the chamber's deputy majority leader. By the way, Democrats currently control 42 seats in the 63-seat New York Senate. So these defections mean that LaSalle cannot be confirmed without Republican votes. And I would just ask you the question, if you have to go to the other party to get this judge, why not just get a judge that your party isn't so vigorously opposed to?
Yeah, I mean, look at what we're seeing in Congress right now. The Republicans could have had Kevin McCarthy as their speaker 12 votes ago, if they just went to the Democrats and got a couple of conservative Democrats who definitely would have played ball for some minor concession, right? In my opinion. But they're like, no, going to the Democrats is heresy among Republicans. Whereas Democrats are like, well, we could go with the progressive wing of our own party, or we could go with Republicans. Easy question, easy answer, Republicans. Why? Kathy Hochul, like most establishment Democrats, are actually Republicans, and especially on economic issues, and judges decide a lot of cases, including, by the way, not just criminal cases, but civil cases against corporations.
Yeah.
So the corporate donors of Hochul, and by the way, before her, Andrew Cuomo, who stacked the New York courts with wall-to-wall conservative justices, right? All to please their donors. And why can they get away with this brazen betrayal of their own voters? Because the media never calls them out on it. They just go, oh, what a wonderfully moderate Democrat, bravo, right? And in fact, if she sided with the progressives, probably New York Times and others would yell at her.
Yep, no, you're absolutely right. And I was going to bring up that exact fact. The fact is that Andrew Cuomo was just the same. The establishment Democrats that are really just masquerading as right-wingers when it comes to actually lifting up we the people. And Kathy Hochul is no exception as a Republican in Dems clothing. It's New York being that Democratic stronghold of a state. It really is the epicenter when it comes to wealth and a lot of things in the United States in terms of progress and what people want. And the thing is that the people have already elected so many members of legislature there that are representative of their belief system, are representative of their democratic principles. And yet you have individuals like Hochul out here doing her damnedest to counteract that just so she can appease her donors. And it is just so incredibly disheartening because not only does it alienate the people, but what it does is it bolsters up the wealthy and continues to feed what they want. It's just so incredibly, just again, disheartening, especially because these people got D's next to their names when that's not who they are, much like Mayor Eric Adams.
Yeah, look, the media is absurd because they will tell you that the millions of dollars that Hochul and Cuomo took from corporate donors didn't affect these decisions at all. That they just randomly, they were like, hey, you know what? Even though we're Democrats, why don't we go really conservative for judges that vote on and decide issues that affect billions of dollars for corporations when they get sued?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Oh, just randomly, because when it comes to economic issues, we're super conservative. But New York Times never dare point that out, okay? And by the way, when they run for office, what does almost all of the media do? All the way from local news to radio to cable news to the newspapers. incumbent, radical. I'm sorry, the primary against the incumbent is a radical thing to do. And why are they creating lack of unity in the Democratic Party? Why don't you unify behind the more conservative Democrat, the more corporate Democrat, the more right-wing Democrat? Oh, these pesky progressives trying to actually be Democrats, right? And in fact, they will often paint the progressives that are better Democrats as Republicans, because they're daring to challenge a Democratic incumbent.
Yeah.
And so that's why you get the result that you do, because the refs are bought and the politicians are bought. So the whole system is bought by the rich and powerful. So no matter how many times you vote for what is ostensibly the left-wing party in a deeply left-wing state like New York, you're never going to get left-wing judges because of the donor system and the corruption. And you're never gonna get a media that's going to be honest with you about that.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.